Nice, quiet town. You moved there because it's a safe place to live. Your daughter is out riding her bicycle for a few minutes. Her brother goes inside for a moment. One of your neighbors allegedly grabs the girl, suffocates her, puts her in a trash bag, and discards her. Are you kidding me?
That's not what the affidavit
How well do you know your neighbors? 'Cause this is making, this has to make everyone think tonight, right? Who's living next door to me? Just 5 houses. There's only 25 houses on this street. You know? It's a dead-end street. So people don't just drive through there. The only people who are going to be there are people that live there. And you think you know them, but maybe you don't. How well do you know your neighbors? Taking your phone calls, 877-TEL-HLN. Also, reading your tweets and Facebooks tonight. Shirley's in California. Shirley.
Yes.
How well do you know your neighbors? And this is... You know, I think this is an important question for all of us to think about tonight in light of what's happened here. Shirley?
Yes.
Shirley,
Yes,
how well do you know your neighbors, Shirley?
I thought I knew him. He was a minister, and he was a foster father. I am a single mother. I lived in that street. He lived 3 houses down from me. I'd lived in that town for over 20 years. And because I had to work being a single mother, I was taking my 9-year-old daughter to his house for him to take her to church with him. And I found out that it took 20 years for me to find out, but I found out that he had been molesting her the entire time that I had been taking her down there. We moved away from our house. I rented it out. We moved away. And I still got the paper from that town. And his picture hit the front page. He had sodomized and molested his foster children, and they had come forward. So he's in jail and going on his way to prison finally. And I guess I just don't know my neighbors.
Shirley, thanks so much for sharing that with us. I know it's difficult to talk about and difficult to, speak about publicly and sort of relive. Shirley, thanks so much. I appreciate it. I mean, Shirley didn't know her neighbor. I mean, Erin Runyon joins us now. Erin is the mother of Samantha Runyon, founder of the Joyful Child Foundation, thejoyfulchild.org, joins us from Orange County. Erin, thanks so much for joining us. I know we're trying to get you on television. We had some technical issues there, but Erin, this question I think is so important. You know, how well do we know our neighbors? Do we ever really know our neighbors, Erin?
No.
You know, if there could be any comfort, the truth is that most people are good, but the reality is we don't know what what's in their heart and what's in their mind, and whether or not they're going to snap if they're having, fantasies about hurting a child. Children are the #1 victims of all violent crime, and over 90% of the time, the perpetrator is somebody the family knows and trusts. So it's just so important, you're right, that we get to know our neighbors so that we can at least get a sense of whether or not this person is somebody that we feel we could trust. But even then, really, we have to put the power in our children's hands and let them know that if anybody ever scares them or makes them uncomfortable, that they need to tell us, and that they can tell us, that we won't be mad at them, and that we're not going to make them spend time with somebody who makes them uncomfortable.
Here's what folks are saying on Twitter tonight. Drew tweeting, I don't know my neighbors well anymore. It doesn't pay. Sometimes they're crazies. Ann tweets, I know mine very well. I've lived next to them for 31 years, and they are great. So, there's a mixture. Think about how well I know we just moved into a new neighborhood a year and a half ago or so. We're getting to know most of our neighbors, and they're all very nice. I mean, very, very nice. But that's what Breann's father thought also in this case, Erin. I mean, Breann's father, I asked him about the neighbor. He said, yeah, it's mostly older people, so they kind of get excited when they see our children. But this guy also has children, apparently. This Sean Morgan, who's under arrest tonight.
Right.
They come in all shapes and sizes, but you wouldn't necessarily expect someone who's got his own children to do something like this.
Sadly, it doesn't seem to make a difference. I know that's really hard for people to stomach, but all of these crimes are hard for us to accept, and we can't know. Just because somebody is married or has children, it doesn't mean that they wouldn't hurt a child. And, the thing that I want parents to understand is how many of these children have to be taken before we as parents work together to make sure that somebody is always out there watching. That really is the key, that we work together. None of us can be there 24/7.
No.
In your average neighborhood, there are a few parents who could get together and talk about how they can work better to eliminate those opportunities that predators look for to grab a child.
Yeah, and ironically, in this neighborhood, you'd have to have the help of some neighbors to protect you from another neighbor. That would be the real sad tragedy here. Georgette's in Louisiana tonight. Georgette, your thoughts. How well do you know your neighbors?
Benny, it's scary. I live in a rural area, and I don't know my neighbors, and that's what my question is. What can we do as parents? My husband and I both are fearful. What can we do to teach our children? We live in a friendly area, but still, it's scary after hearing all that I'm hearing.
Yeah, Georgette, thanks so much. Aaron, you talk about empowering children and teaching children. Your organization does some work like that. Can you explain to us what you guys do?
We teach a program that's called Rad Kids, and they are nationwide. There are 3,700 instructors in 47 states, and it's a 10-hour safety curriculum for kids that empowers the child.
What age? What age, Aaron?
3.5 up to 12. 3.5-year-olds up to 12. Because it's about age 3 that children start to kind of recognize, that's when they start hiding behind your leg when you introduce them to somebody. And that's when you can start to teach them that if somebody gives them that feeling, that's okay. It's funny that as soon as they start to hide, we start to pull them out and make them be friendly. But the reality is that's a natural instinct for a child, and that's okay. And we can empower them to trust their feelings. And when they are more comfortable with somebody, they'll warm up. And that's how it should be. We don't want them to instantly trust every adult in the neighborhood. We want them to know that they can always come to us and that they should ask us before they go into anybody's yard or anybody's house, no matter how much you like your neighbors. They need to check in with mom and dad and make sure it's okay.
Sandra on Facebook tonight, you can't trust your neighbors, you can't trust friends, and you can't trust family. And unfortunately, we've seen cases involving all three sets of people who you'd like to be able to trust. Aaron Runyon, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Keep up the fantastic work that you are doing. Still to come here, folks. Over the past few months, we've seen a lot of our American heroes.
Just a couple of years ago, we had Sandra I believe it was Sandra Cantu, who was skipping down a street very similar to Breeann's, and she went to a neighbor's house and never came home again until she was found. Just in case everybody's concerned, because Misha let out this screech, he was rolling around on his back, and I think he got his leg caught in between the cushions on the sofa. So he's fine. Are you fine? Oh, nobody can see it. Say, I'm fine. Say, bring Breeann home. They find her soon.